Hello, everyone. Good evening, good afternoon, and good morning, depending on where you're connecting from. I'm excited to be on this show today. I'm grateful, and I also want to say thank you to all our guests who are on the show with us. We have a special guest with us who'll be giving us an expose of his life when it all started. His name is Dr. Olumide Emmanuel. But before I bring him on board, let me just introduce myself and introduce what the show is all about. My name is Sandra Oko. I'm a Maxwell Leadership Certified Team Member, Speaker, Coach, and Trainer. I'm a member of the Toastmasters as a Vice President, Public Relations. I'm also an ITS sales expert of over 20 years, a best-selling author, and just received the Presidential Lifetime Award. I'm excited and I'm grateful to God. I also want to thank our viewers for being on this show. Thank you for joining us every time we call upon you. And thank you for sharing this link with other friends so that we can be a form of blessing to others. And what's the show all about? Making a difference every day. We're called out to make a difference. God has designed each and every one of us to represent Him. And so we are all ambassadors everywhere we go. So we carry God on our inside. And so today, we are meant to make a difference in our world, touching lives around us, living a life of significance. Not just about success, us being successful and amassing, but being a blessing to others, planning and intentionally looking for those you can impact and those you can be a blessing today. And today we have a guest. He's going to share a story, how it all started, how God has lifted him and changed him and is making a difference in his world and is really impacting the world globally. So let me quickly read his bio. But before I do that, I'd like to just shoot one of the commercials we have. So great to have you on this show. Welcome, 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 and welcome our guests. And before I bring him on board, I'd like to just quickly read his bio. Dr. Olumide Oladapo Emmanuel, popularly known as the Common Sense Guru, is no doubt one of the world's leading relationship experts. Oh, I'm hearing some sound here. Just a moment, please. Yeah. I'll have to go back again. I just had some distractions and some voices around me. So I decided to mute all the phones and all the gadgets I have around me. So I'm going to be introducing our guest before I bring him on board. His name is Dr. Olumide Emmanuel, popularly known as the Common Sense Guru. He's no doubt one of the world's leading relationship experts, motivational speakers, and wealth creation agents with over 3 decades of transforming lives all around the globe. His influence spread across the religious and secular arena, and he is an apostle in the marketplace. Awesome. With an executive master's in business administration from the University of Huddersfield in the UK, and a real estate executive certificate with a special focus on capital markets, project finance, business strategy from the prestigious Harvard Business School in the United States, and also a doctorate in entrepreneurial leadership. Dr. Olumide Emmanuel is a leading voice for personal, corporate, and national transformation. He is a best-selling author of over 50 books, awesome, and a media personality, and the CEO of the Common Sense Group with 9 subsidiaries all around the globe and a global footprint. No one encounters him and stays the same. Awesome. He's married with children. So I'm so glad to bring him on board. The next person you get to see is Dr. Olumide, my mentor.
Yes, sir. How are you doing today?
Very well. I know you're
Oh,
in transit, you're in the UK now, but even out of your busy schedule, you're making that time to being with us to make a difference in our world. We really do appreciate it, sir. Thank you.
yeah. Any opportunity we have to be a blessing, we have to do what we have to do.
Sure. That's awesome. I actually brought you on. Yeah. Some people just think, oh, Pastor Olumide just or Dr. Olumide just fought from heaven and everyone was born with a silver spoon. Everything is working well for him. The guy is doing well. He's well connected. We like to know how it all started. We want to hear your story so that the common man can see that there is room for him to get to where you are today and even surpass you.
Yeah. Well, thanks for having me. So I don't know where to start from, but
What village did you come from?
okay, we are going that far. Okay. Well, my name is Olumide Oladapo Emmanuel. I was born into a middle class family, the firstborn of five that later became eight. And that one is a story for another day. So I'm from Isale in Ogun State, Nigeria. Ogun State is West Africa, or western part of Nigeria, and Nigeria is in West Africa. West Africa is in Africa. Africa is part of the world. uh, I'm married with children. I'm a pastor. I'm a businessman. I'm an apostle in the marketplace, and I wear so many hats. So I do so many stuff. That's who I am in a nutshell. And my journey is a function of two things. Number one, my walk with God, my encounter with God. So there is a journey that has to do with the God aspect. And then the second aspect of my journey is my encounter with poverty. And that is another trajectory altogether. But all in all, it's been a journey. So my life, just like every other young man when I was growing up, uh, it's more like, in Nigeria and Africa, what we're experiencing today, where a lot of people want to travel in what they call the Japa syndrome. People want to go for economic migration. While growing up, I also had that dream of, oh, I want to leave Nigeria. I want to leave Nigeria. But I'm grateful to God that I did not, and it did not make that a reality, because I had an encounter with God as a teenager. So I got born again as a teenager. And that changed the trajectory of my life, because a life without a purpose is an experiment, as explained and revealed to us by my friend, late Dr. Miles Monroe. And that encounter with God gave me an understanding of purpose, gave me an understanding of the fact that I was born for a purpose, I was born for a reason, and I needed to do everything I can to fulfill that purpose. And that was why I focused on just living for God and fulfilling God's purpose for my life. And by the age of 21, I became a pastor. By the age of 24, I founded a ministry that I still have the privilege to oversee up until today. However, because of the fact that I got born again and I became a Christian early, a lot of things were moving very fast in my life. So most of the things that took a lot of people many years to get was happening for me fast because I started early. But that starting early affected many areas except my finances. And that was what led me to what I call the poverty encounter. In 1997, I got married, and that was one of the greatest mistakes of my life. The marriage itself was not a mistake, but getting married as a poor man was an error. And I suddenly realized that there is no romance without finance. And I suddenly realized that when a woman tells you, I love you the way you are, I love you the way you are does not mean I love you to remain the way you are. When she says, I love you the way you are, she's hoping that somewhere along the line your story will change. And I didn't learn earlier. I went ahead again to impregnate my wife. Second greatest mistake. The pregnancy was not a mistake, the child was not a mistake, but getting a woman
Pregnant for
pregnant
that
as a
child.
poor man was an error. Yes, why will you bring a child into the world when you don't have the resources to take care of the child? And it was at that point in my life when I became so depressed and I had to cry out to God, and look, God, I'm tired, tired of poverty, tired of lack, tired of hardship. I need a change of story. And that was what led me to what I call the poverty encounter. And God asked me a simple question: if you are really ready to be free, are you ready to be taught? And I said, yes, I'm ready. And then I went through 8 months of an encounter with God, and God took me from Genesis to Revelation and began to unveil to me his world's creation plan as documented and hidden in scriptures. And then he also gave me an assignment to study the life of rich and wealthy individuals and families all over the world. And this was not, there was no Google, there was no technology, is not the way it is now. So it was really
Yeah.
hard. It was real hard work, reading books, biography, autobiographies, visiting different countries, visiting libraries, and just trying to find out, the story of rich and wealthy people. And that encounter helped me to understand things that changed my life. Number one, I came to realize that all over the world, everyone that is rich and wealthy, all they are doing is the same thing. Principles are universal, but the application of those principles are personal, contextual, and geographical. I realized that rich and wealthy people all do the same thing. They apply the same principles, regardless of their geography, regardless of where they are in the world. I also realized that rich and wealthy people were not working for people, they were working for themselves.
Mm.
So I was able to identify specific things. Number one, they all operated the same principles. Number two, they were not salary earners, they were income earners, job creators, and entrepreneurs. Number three, they had more than one source of income. Number four, they all had their wealth retained through real estate. And that was when I realized that if I was going to become wealthy, I needed to do what others have done. Because the life is lived forward, but understood backwards. And success leaves clues. And if you do what successful people do, you become successful. So I decided that, okay, now that I've learned this, let me begin to practice it. Number one, no more salary. Let me begin to focus more on income and entrepreneurship. Number two, I need to have multiple streams of income. And then number three, I need to go into real estate in order to be able to create wealth. And then number four, I needed to start discovering, identifying, and documenting all the principles that makes for wealth. And I need to be committed to practicing them for the rest of my life. And that's how I started. And 98, 99, 2000, 2001. By 2001, within 3 to 4 years, my story had changed. And I realized that, wow, I didn't know it was this easy. And that was when I said, okay, that's worked for me. Let me go teach other people. And in the last 2 decades plus, all we've been doing is to try to equip and empower people based on the mandate of go teach my people how to create wealth. And here we are.
Awesome, 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 awesome. Oh my God, that's really, really interesting. Getting to know that you have to search out the rich and the wealthy people, documenting all their principles and also acting. So just beyond reading, without acting, those things wouldn't have come to life. Because sometimes you have
Yeah.
people who gather information, the information gatherers, they have books written on wealth, but they are not action takers. They've never taken any action to starting anything great. So for
Yeah.
you to have started, going on that exposure with God, trying to gather people's information, and then you can imagine no internet. So you probably be looking for books about them and trying to sit
Um,
down, make a time to study those manuscripts in order to come up with something great. That is really,
yeah.
really awesome. Awesome, 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 awesome. Whilst doing all that, how did you find it? Was it that easy? Can you give us
Well,
how you
it's
started it? Was it something you read overnight or you had the technology that was helping you to
not.
read them?
One of the things I started traveling in 1992. I traveled for the first time, 92. So But 1997, I came to the UK for the first time. So between that 97 and 98, I was actually doing a lot of traveling to the UK and then to Paris and few other European countries. So one thing that helped me was that traveling to the UK, because the United Kingdom has a lot of libraries. So a lot of the information I got, I was able to get from libraries here in the UK. And it was not an easy journey getting all those information. In fact, even knowing who the rich people are, because today now not many people use encyclopedia and yellow
Sure.
pages and all those things, that telephone book and all those things, that the business directory. Those were all things that were using in those days, that today now most people don't know all those things. So I did a lot. It was not easy getting all the to even know who the rich people are. It was not easy. So because what I did was, okay, how many continents do we have? Who are the richest people on each continent? So rich individuals, rich families, rich organizations. And then I began to do those researches, and I was able to study a lot. It was like 8 months of research. It was not an easy journey, but I did it. And one thing I also came to realize is that you become what you read.
Sure.
You become by virtue of giving attention to those body of knowledge and those information. I realized that I was being transformed in the process. And most of the time, one of the things people don't realize is that you have to become rich to attract riches.
Sure.
You have to become wealthy to attract wealth. So
Mm.
by going through that process of reading and learning, I became what I was looking
Mhm.
for. Because wealth is first of all within, before
Yeah,
you
before
cannot
without.
are not. You cannot attract what you are not. So I became transformed through that process. And once there was an internal transformation and the software that was running my life was changed, then all of a sudden everything around was working in line with what I was already on the inside. And that's one thing that happened. And then, you see, like you were talking about practicing stuff, 1,000 good intentions are not as powerful as one action. I've had 3 meetings today already. The I did an online meeting about 2 hours ago, and in the online meeting, the host was talking about how my products have transformed his life, my books, my CDs. But he was saying that the same books and CD that transformed his life, he gave to someone that was going through a crisis, and that 1 month later, the person has not even read the book or listened to the audio program. He said, I'll get to it. He said he gave the person another 1 month, and the person still didn't do anything about it, and the person is still poor till today. Why? Because many times a lot of people wish for a better life, they hope for a better life, but they don't work towards a better life. And that missing link is always procrastination and lack of taking the necessary action that is required. And that's one thing that has helped me as an individual, is the discipline to take action, the discipline to stay consistent in doing what needs to be done. I remember then in 1998, I developed a 30-year plan, and the 30-year plan was broken into 10 years, broken into 5 years, and broken into years. And I realized that then I was in my, I was late 20s, and I developed a 30-year plan. But I realized that what I expected to achieve in 30 years was achieved in less than 20 years.
Sure.
In less than 20 years was achieved, and I have to be renewing the plan and adjusting the plan. And that's because I practiced them. And I look back now and I'm like, wow. For instance, I was telling them on the last broadcast, in 2001, I bought 100 acres of land in 2001, because like I said, I learned that you needed to go into real estate. I understood land banking. I bought 100 acres of land in 2001 for land banking. This is 2023, 22 years later. The land is still there. And now some of the things I projected to happen has happened. And one of the major things I projected to happen is now happening this year. And now we are planning to start selling some of those lands now. and that is running into some crazy money. But the question is, how many people can wait for 22 years?
True.
How many people can wait for 22 years? So I did that then because I understood the principle of delayed gratification. In 2008, I bought another 200 acres somewhere else, bought another 70 acres somewhere else. So because I understood that land and real estate was going to achieve more for me than any other thing. And today it's a reality. So many times people don't act on what they are supposed to do. They know what to do. Sometimes they don't know what to do. And sometimes they know what to do, but they don't do what they're supposed to do. They just have this, belief that, oh, God is in control. It is well. What belongs to me will not pass me by. Whatever will be, will be. And all these evil philosophies and myths that has kept people poor become the software that runs their life.
Yeah. Awesome. That's a great one. How do you become rich? You must find out the ropes of becoming rich. It's not easy, but you must have to go through it. Like you rightly said, you have to do your own work. Some people, like you rightly said, that a friend gave your CD to someone who is probably complaining and probably thinking the route to becoming wealthy is something all of a sudden and if you just work. Just sitting down to read or play the CD is a problem to that person. Tell me, how will the person get information? Because you find that they said, put anything you put in a book for an African man will not read it. That's every information you need to get are already in some books. But the problem a lot of people have is sitting down, taking our time to study them. Now we have a lot of software that can help you read. All you need to do, get a soft copy of the book, put them on this software, and the book will read as an audio book to you. So whilst in the kitchen, whilst driving, whilst doing other things, you can also listen to those books. And that's why I said there is no excuse in this age and in this time because we have everything to make life better. Like in your time, you have to go to libraries, sit there, I understand. You probably will be making photocopies of some of the parts of the textbooks, maybe because you can't afford it to buy the book there. And being that you're coming from, you're probably interstate, intercontinent, you can't take the book back to Nigeria. So most times then will be either do we have phones then? Do you have phones then? Taking pictures of the phone of
Oh, yeah,
the.
there were phones, but there were no GSM, no mobile phones. So there are landlines and
True.
owned by few people, and then you have to go to like telephone
Payphone.
stations, telephone booths, and all those stuff. So you go to phone booth, you buy phone card, or you use. It's just sometimes when I look back now, I'm like, wow, technology is good though, because a
Really
lot of
good.
people don't know all that some of us have to go through to be able to get some things that are now easily accessible and easily available
Yeah,
to
because
people.
recently I was speaking with someone today, and I was telling the person, I said, you can remember those days when we want to write our projects. We will go queue up on a typewriter, wait for the typewriter, and during that season when all the final years are going to be graduating from college, it's always a queue,
Mm,
first come, first serve, to get your thesis
mm,
ready so that you can graduate. You have some people backlog waiting for a particular typewriter. God help you, that typewriter becomes sick and doesn't appear at that store. That means you probably will have some months. You have to go and pray that God brings the woman back. It's so funny how things technology has taken over. Typewriter, we now have
yeah,
laptops, we now have phones, we can type anything anywhere. We have iPads and the rest. And like you rightly said,
yeah.
reading is a great tool to transformation. You become what you read.
Mm,
You become what you can see. What you can see, you can behold. Like you rightly said, good intention is not equal to action. There's a story I read. It said there are five birds on a string. Four had an intention to fly. And at the end of the day, this was a mentor asking his mentee, how many of the birds are left? Some people said zero. Somebody said one. Someone said the all five. Someone said four left. And what the mentor said was that good intentions are not equal to good actions. He said the bird have intention to fly, but it never moved. They were still at the status quo. They didn't take any action. So having very great intentions to doing anything great in life is equal to zero because you're not taking action. Action begets um, possibility. If you don't make an attempt to do whatever you want to do, no matter how hard or how difficult those tasks might look, you would not be able to make a move. And you spoke about discipline action and being consistent. Some people start doing, oh, I want to start reading. I want to start associating with the right set of people. But they start, but they don't get to the end. Like this morning, I was in a prayer group where the person was saying, we are all in a marathon race. We're all running for a prize. No one gets into that race without expecting a crown or a prize. So also with a soccer player or any of the games. The games are not interesting if there are no golden cups or golden boots to be won. So it is all a prize at the end. We're all called to finish a race. We're all called to finish. It's not about start. Nobody's giving a commendation for starting. But people are giving commendations and gifts and crowns for finishing. So even starting the race of Christianity and being on that race and still running, it's a plus because you want to get the gifts, you want to get a crown. So nobody gets an award or rewarded for starting anything great. But people want to hear great stories of you finishing your course, finishing or starting and also finishing. I tried to make a documentary of all you said so that, for those who are just joining us could at least have a recap of what you said. And when you spoke about discipline action, it's not easy. Nothing easy comes easy. Like I rightly said, I often will use rubber band. I don't have any rubber band. It is said that a rubber band is non-effect. It's of non-effects if it is not drawn. The rubber band becomes effective when it's drawn to tie whatever packs of card, phones, or spoons, or whatever you want to use it for. And so it is with humans. What doesn't stretch us doesn't grow us. If you want to remain at your comfort zone to say, this is what I am, this is where I am, this is just okay for me, you can't move, you can't grow. So it is that we are called to live a life of discipline. And that's why the disciples are called disciples. They have a disciplined life. And that's why they're called soldiers, soldiers for God, because you must be disciplined to be in that journey. You must be disciplined to be a disciple. It is not about you sleeping, waking up at your time and doing things. You must be disciplined and you must be consistent in whatever you've found your hand doing. Like I rightly would tell people, I said, don't start what you will not finish, but starting it and having this 2 minutes psych, that let me try it for 2 minutes. You will find that after 2 minutes, you're engrossed and you keep doing it. But taking that baby step, doing it afraid, there will always be fears. There will always be things that people have never done before. You can be the first person to start it, but you've got to start whatever you've started being afraid. And you spoke about practicing your goals and having goals, reviewing your goals. Rightly, I told people, I said, goals are no longer just smart. Goals are smarter. There's an ER added to smart. We know that they're specific, they're measurable, they're achievable, they're realistic, and they're time bound. But beyond that, goals all the time, the time that are changing, needs to be evaluated and needs to be reviewed. Just like you rightly said, that the goals you had, the 30 years plan you have to go back to your drawing board. You have to review it over time. Yeah, and so that's what goals are. I tell people, I say, we've gone just beyond goals being smart. Goals are not smarter. You must go back to your drawing board, maybe every 6 months, every 3 months, evaluate your goals. Are those the goals that will take you to where you want to be in the next 5, 10, 20, 30 years? And with the changing climate, the changing global economy and everything, you might need to go back to your drawing board, review and evaluate and review your goals. There's nothing wrong in reviewing. So I also want to find out from you, what did you do those times you had difficulty in those books? Did you have a time to journal? Because I know that taking time to sit down in those libraries to read, how did you get, bits and pieces of these books? Did you have time to take some time to journal? Because, I try to encourage people in journaling that take time and just sit down in a quiet place, journal, just, pour your heart out, write whatever comes to mind. And in so doing, God speaks, you look inward. A lot of times it's because we are so busy and so in a hurry to do things. That's why we are not calm to look inward. We're just, ready to take a move and action. So can you just tell us how you got this information together? Because I know that making a photocopy, yes, can be, but I don't know, were there photocopiers then? Were you able to take
Yeah,
time to journal or summarize what you read?
Okay. It was actually during those time that I realized that there is something called speed reading. I did not know that there is a place for speed reading. I didn't understand that until that point. That's when I discovered that there's actually something called speed reading. There are actually courses. You can do a course on speed reading and all those stuff. But we can't go into all those details now. But one of the things that I did was to begin to find out if there are summaries. Because most of the time, there are books written about people by people, and there are books written about people by themselves. So when people write about others, it's called a biography. When they write about themselves, it's called autobiography. So I realized that when I was reading the biographies of people, the information was coming from outside. But when I read the autobiography of people, the information was coming from inside. So every time I see a biography, I want to find out whether there is an autobiography, whether the person has written some things about himself. And because of the speed reading aspect that I quickly did a crash course on, I now knew that I needed to summarize. So when you are doing speed reading, when you pick up a book, when you look at the table of contents, it gives you a summary and overview of the entire book. When you read about the book and about the author, it gives you some information also. And then you can always, so it's more or less like a summarization, because what I was looking for was, how did these people become rich? That's what I was looking for. So I was not looking for too many stories. So that was what I was looking for. How did they become rich? What did they do? And I was able to pick those information and document them. And all those things were part of what led to my first book on wealth creation. Because after getting the information, I started practicing them. When I produced results, I started teaching others. When others started producing results, and I started writing books, because I wanted to be sure that when I was writing a book on finance, I was not writing a book on wealth as a poor man. I was writing a book on wealth as a rich man that had testimonies of not just my own testimony, but testimonies of other people that have also practiced what I said to them, and they have produced results. And that's what has happened up till now.
Awesome. 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 Thank you for those words. Thank you. I also just remember that you mentioned talking about delayed gratification that you said. A lot of times, I think one of the reasons people remain where they are is they want to do everything, they want to please everyone. They want to do things, get a show B, meet with family members, travel because their friends are
Mm.
traveling, going on vacation because Lagbaja is also going on vacation. But I've read books that
Yeah.
said delay gratification for future enjoyment. Delay what you want to do now for tomorrow. Tomorrow, when you have a lot of more abundance, a lot of more money, rather than struggling to do it. And that comes where priority, that's where priority comes in. Can you just in a jiffy explain what you meant by
Okay. So there are laws of wealth creation. And when you study the life of rich and wealthy people all over the world, you realize that they all apply the same laws. Like I said earlier on, principles are universal, but the application of those principles are personal, contextual, and geographical. So, in the laws of wealth creation, the first law of wealth creation is the law of financial education or financial intelligence. The law of financial education or financial intelligence, you have to know so that you can go. What you know determines how far you go. If you know better, you do better. Those who know rule over those who do not know. So you need to have information about wealth creation, because in our world today, you are either educated, uneducated, or miseducated. A lot of people know what it means to be educated and to be uneducated, but they don't know what it means to be miseducated. And a lot of people are victims of miseducation. So miseducation is in my book, The School of Money. I had an entire chapter where I dealt with the 7-star education. So it's very, very important to know that going to school does not make you rich. There are a lot of people that have gone to school, they have master's degree in business administration, yet they cannot run any business successfully. Ordinary restaurants, barbing salon, they can't run. and yet they have MBA and they are master over nothing. So when it comes to creating wealth, you need financial education. There are five kinds of education that you need to be all that you need to be. But financial education is the one that will help you to become rich. Academic education has its place, but academic education does not translate to wealth creation. Academic education only does four things: it helps you to read, it helps you to know how to write, it helps you to know how to calculate, and it helps you to be able to think analytically. But that doesn't translate well because the dean of faculty of econs and the vice chancellor of the university is still a poor man, even though
True.
even the professor of economics cannot manage his own personal economy. So having PhD in swimming technology does not make you a swimmer. So, number one, the first law is the law of financial intelligence, financial education, which means you need to understand money. What is money? How do I make money? How do I manage it? How do I multiply it? Where is money hiding? What is compound interest? What's an asset? What's annuity? What's a liability? Everything that has to do with wealth, you study. So that's number one. Number two is the law of delayed gratification. The law of delayed gratification. And that is one major area where a lot of people miss it, because everybody makes money, but
Sure.
you don't need wisdom to spend, you don't need discipline to spend, you don't need grace to spend. Everybody is a natural spender. Spending is normal to everybody. It is when it comes to discipline and saving that you need wisdom and grace. When it comes to spending, everybody is anointed to spend, and it is the ability to delay gratification that now helps you to become an exceptional person. So, delayed gratification means that you don't spend all the money that you make. It means that you don't eat your future, because if you eat tomorrow's food today, you'll be hungry tomorrow. If you wear tomorrow's clothes today, you'll be naked tomorrow. If you live tomorrow's life today, you have no life to live tomorrow. So you
True.
need to delay gratification. So when you see a lot of people today, imagine, like I said earlier on, I bought 100 acres in 2001. It's 2023. I spent another like 50 million naira to fence it in 2007. So money that I could have been using to buy clothes, to buy shoes, to buy jewelries, and to do, fine boy, I was using it to prepare for the future. And now the future is here. So delayed gratification. There is something that we call the 20-40-60 principle. Now, the 20-40-60 principle states that when people are in their 20s and in their 30s, majority of the decisions they make and the choices they make is based on other people's opinion. What do people say? How will people feel? That's what influences many of the decisions that people make when they're in their 20s and in their 30s. By the time they get to their 40s and their 50s, they don't even care what anybody's saying, because they have lived enough to know that their life is their life. And that's why people say a fool at 40 is a fool forever, which not
Mhm.
is not necessarily so. And then life begins at 40, not necessarily so. But since by the time you are now in your 40s, you don't care what anybody's saying. But by the time you now get to your 60s, you realize that nobody was even saying anything in the first place. You are the one that was putting yourself under undue pressure. How
Mhm.
many times have you bought a new shoe and bought a new wristwatch and nobody made any comments? And you had to be the one to introduce to them to say, I bought a new shoe. You didn't even say anything about my shoe. And they're like, hey, you buy shoe. Because for them, you are not a breaking news. You are the one that thinks that your shoe and your wristwatch is a breaking news. People are busy thinking about their own life. They are not necessarily thinking about you. So
True.
delayed gratification is very, very important, especially when you start out in life, because, like I always say to people, there are four seasons in life: morning, afternoon, evening, and night. The first 25 years of your life is your morning, the second 25 years is your afternoon, the third 25 is your evening, and the fourth 25 is your night season. If you mess up your morning, you will regret your evening. So delayed gratification is you using the morning season of your life to prepare for the evening and the night season of your life. So the first set of money that you make in the early part of your life should be invested and should be put in things that will produce for you in the future. Because what you save today will save you tomorrow.
Yeah.
And so we can go on and on and on and on, but so many things to share. But
You were giving us all 5 laws of financial education. You gave us two.
well, the laws of wealth creation are many. So number one is the law of financial education and financial intelligence. Number
Intelligence.
two is the law of delayed gratification. Number three is the law of savings. If you don't save, you are not safe. What you save today will save you tomorrow. So savings is very, very important. There are only three things you can do with money. You can waste it, you can spend it, you can invest it. Foolish people waste money. Average people spend money. Wise people invest money. So you need to save. One thing that people don't realize is that every money you will earn in your lifetime is not given to you at once. Every money you will earn in your lifetime is given to you in installments as your weekly, monthly salary, or as your periodic income if you're a businessman or an entrepreneur. And then money is tripartite. Money is a spirit, money has a soul, money lives in a body. Money has a past, money has a present, money has a future. What that therefore means is that every time you have money, you must activate the tripartite dimension of that money in order for you to be wealthy. So when money comes into your hand, a portion of that money belongs to your past to take care of the bills you have already incurred. A portion of that money belongs to your present to take care of your ongoing obligation. A portion of that money belongs to your future as savings and investment. So if you don't save money, you are eating your future. So when people say there are village people, you are actually the village people. You are a witch because you have eaten your future.
Mhm.
So every time you are not saving money, you are a witch. You are operating in witchcraft because you are eating your own future. Because every time you eat egg, you are eating chicken. Every time you eat egg, you are eating a poultry. So that's one egg that you are eating. Every time you wake up and say, oh, I need to eat, I need to have breakfast, and then crack egg. Take two, three, four, and then you are eating. So I want omelette. Oh, I want sunny side up. I want all that egg you are eating. You are eating chicken. You are eating a whole poultry. So if you don't save, you are eating your future. And that's why a lot of people come into what they consider to be a future, and there's no future. Why? Because the future is a concept. The future is an ideology. So today is yesterday's future. Today is the tomorrow you spoke about yesterday. So when people say my future is bright, I don't know what they are talking about because there's no bright future anywhere. If you don't create a bright future, you don't have a bright future. 10 years ago, you said your future is bright. Now you are in the future. Is it bright?
No.
There is no bright future if you don't create a bright future because whatever will be will not be. You have to make it be. An object will remain stagnant until a force is applied. In the same way, your life will remain the same way it is until you do something meaningful about it. So the law of savings is the third law. You have to save money. Savings is not an investment. As a matter of fact, I'm presently on a
No.
series, a 5-part series on developing a savings culture. So if you go to my YouTube channel, Dr. Olumide Emmanuel on YouTube, you should be able
Okay.
to catch part 1 to 2. Part 3 and 4 is coming up in the next 2 weeks. So developing a savings culture. So you need to save. That's now savings is not an investment, but you need to save towards an investment.
Yeah.
One of the reasons for saving is so that you can have money to invest, which now brings us to the fourth law of wealth creation, which is the law of investment. The law of investment. So you need to now invest. And the more you invest, the more returns you get. So a lot of people are poor because they are not investors, they are
Yeah.
consumers. And if you are a consumer, you are eating up your future. So the law of investment is that which will now help you to be able to invest for the future and invest in things that will bring cash flow and bring results. And now, when you are investing, inside the law of investment, we have the law of asset acquisition and the law of cash flow. They are all within the same investment realm. So when you are investing, you must be investing in something that is an asset. You must be investing in something that is going to produce a cash flow. And that is how you begin to create wealth. And then number 5 is the law of multiple streams of income. The law of multiple streams of income. A lot of people are involved in multiple struggles. I see people in the Western world say, I'm going to have 2, 3 jobs. I'm going to my first job. I'm going to my second job. And I'm wondering, what's wrong with these people? You don't realize that salaries will never take anywhere. Even if you like do 5 jobs, that's just multiple struggles. That's not multiple streams of income. So the law of multiple streams is very, very important, because you need to have many, many income streams. At least, if things are so bad, you must have 4, minimum of 4 sources of income. And if you have that, it means that whether you are working or not, all the streams of income are producing money for you. And then we can go on and on and on. And then we have the law of covenant compliance, which is the one that many people don't understand, because you are either in the secret court or you are in the secret place. And a lot of people, they try to do everything
So you say
without
that is number
applying
6,
the
the law of
covenant
covenants.
practice. And yeah, law of covenant compliance.
Yeah. Sorry for breaking
And
in.
that is very, very important, because
Network. Well, that's been a very great session and mind
if
blowing
you
session.
if
I
you
think our guest is encountering some kind of network issues. He's actually outside his home, so he's on transit. So I really do appreciate him taking great time, great sacrifice to be with us this evening to sharing his stories, expose on how he started life from two encounter that you rightly said. He said the encounter of God and the encounter of poverty. And today he's a multimillionaire like myself, like me. Yeah. And today we are glad to have him share his story with us. And so if you're just joining in, I would encourage you go back to the video to watch it just to get a full grasp of all he has just shared. This is a class you must not miss. And I want to encourage you, if this has been a blessing to you, please kindly share with others, because it is said that the leader is one who knows it and shares it with others. So I want to encourage you, whatever blesses you, we don't hoard information, but we give information. And when it was talking about not eating your future, what occurs to me is when you're eating, you must keep the seed you want to sow. Like you rightly said,
without
the network
the
is really bad.
we end up in shame. Yeah. So God is your source, but every other thing is a
We had some kind of technical glitch. So I don't know, maybe you can hear me, sir. Can you hear me, sir? So let's just give him a minute. Like he was talking about the future, I also want to share. Sometimes when we harvested and get our harvest together, we always have the seed and we have the ones that we would eat. The seed is what you keep for tomorrow. The seed is what you need to plant in order for you to have something to eat tomorrow. So, but you find that some people would eat both the seed and the crop itself, such that they do not have a seed to sow. So when he was talking about the future, what came to mind was the seed. Don't eat your seed. Keep your seed so that you can have something to cultivate for tomorrow. So we had some internet glitches. So I said, whilst you're still trying to connect,
yeah.
let me
So
just share.
it is well.
So I decided to just,
Yeah,
give a summary of what you were talking about the future, not eating your future, and having a seed to sow, not eating
yeah,
the seed and the fruits together. Because if you do eat them, there will be nothing for
mm,
tomorrow. So you
yeah,
actually you stopped at law of covenants compliance, where you were talking about you're either in a secret
yeah.
court or in a secret place.
Or you are in the secret place. I think that's enough. They didn't pay. When people don't pay, they don't pay attention. We can't
True.
give everything free.
Okay, then before that, let me just check if there are any comments or any questions. Just a moment, I'll just shoot one of the commercials.
Are you thinking of how to publish your book on Amazon or how to get your published book to become an Amazon bestseller book? Dip Insight Books is the perfect in-between solution in transforming your ideas into a book. We can help you with all the complicated parts of publishing, such as process TO transformation. What we do: full manuscript evaluation, receive quality assurance edit, full copy edit and final proofread to remove spelling and grammar mistakes, oversee your cover design, create your interior layout, publish and distribute your book, lock down your marketing strategy. Ghostwriting, where there is no manuscript. Our goal is to help you publish your book promptly. Contact us today at 404-740-9091. Email us at info@dipinsightworld.com. To start the submission process, check us out at www.books.dipinsightworld.com and submit your details. You can visit our Facebook page at Dip Insight World.
So welcome back, I guess. Welcome. Thank you so much for being on the show. Thank you for taking our time. Had to be a busy schedule. You're in London, UK now, and you're still talking to us. I know, but I just want to really check the comments or if there are any questions from our guests, from our followers. I think Deborah Taylor said the principle of delayed gratification. I like it so much. Thank you for that comment. And Emmanuel said, thank you, Dr. Olumide. Very instructive, all you have said, like what you said about biography and autography of people. Awesome. He's a reader. He's a reader. He's someone who tries to explore, reading people's autography. And that's a great one. He said, well said, saving money is not an investment. Sure, because inflation will take over that money. We have MK. Well done, Dr. Sandra. More grace, Pastor Emmanuel. Well, I don't know this person, but thank you all the same. There are no questions. And before we call it a day, I want to thank the viewers. I also want to thank Dr. Olumide. Thank you so much for taking our time. And if you're just joining, please kindly go back to this show for today. It's been an expose. I have a full script. I don't want to show you. So there's so much to write, so much. I think I have to go back over it again. And if you're just joining, I would encourage you, please go back. And as I said, please share whatever information you get. We don't want information. We give that information to others in order to be a blessing. And so in being a blessing is by sharing this information. Like, subscribe, and share hit the notification bell so that you can often get more updates. I also want to thank you, sir. Before we call it a day, maybe you might just want to tie it and also give us a word to run with as we leave tonight. Thank you so much, sir.
Well, thanks for having me. It's been a good time. I've said over and over again, the word poor is an acronym for passing over opportunities repeatedly. And life is all about opportunities. So everyone that is listening to us, or everyone that will listen to this, every opportunity you have, take advantage of it, maximize it. Don't procrastinate. Take action. And I'll see you at the top.
Thank you so much. And thank you, viewers. Thank you so much, sir. I want to encourage every one of us, everyone.
God bless you.
To go out, dare to make a difference in your world every day. Thank you. Have a blessed evening. Bye.